Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Dunn, and I am so excited, you guys. I'm going to ask Joel a few questions. Um, for those of you that don't know, Joel and I have been with the company for 13 years. And looking back, things were tough, standing in food lines, going through bankruptcy. But we were entrepreneurs and had different businesses and all the things. And when we were introduced to this, I was a little hesitant. I don't know if anybody else
She
was or
wanted
not.
nothing to do with it. Let's get real.
Did not want anything to do with it. It was network marketing. I was like, no. And he saw a huge opportunity. And so immediately Joel was the one, the beginning, that was all in. And I don't usually just ask Joel questions. I should have got the other computer. I thought about this, like I should be on the other end and then interview Joel, but I'll get out of maybe the picture a little bit so it can just be you. But I really wanted you guys to hear from Joel. I'm going to ask him some questions. So we got into this business, like I said, 13 years ago. Joel has always been into personal development, leadership, anything that he can do to grow his mind. And I'm so blessed because I get him every single day. And so I get to hear what Joel listens to, what he's praying about, what he's thinking about constantly. So I get that on the daily. Most of the time it's great. Sometimes you may not want to hear everything, but that's what we do is we go back and forth, and he is just so wise. And I actually asked him years ago, what do you pray about for yourself? And he said he always prayed from a very young age of he wanted to be wise. And I think Joel absolutely has a lot of wisdom for as young as he is. And I want you guys to hear where it started and then how it's progressed along the years, because we just got back from Global Leadership Summit 2022, and it was mind blowing. So Joel's been going for years. Took me a little bit to jump in the bandwagon and really get into it because it's a lot of information. And so for me, I've always been like, give me 15 minutes and I'm good. And this is like 2 days of high level leadership talks. And sometimes it can be overwhelming for people that are just like me. And that's okay if you're just can handle 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and some can handle 2 days. And that's Joel. So we went there, and I know I saw him taking all kinds of notes, going up to people that he has always looked to as mentors, and a little bit about what that looks like. But one of the talks and why I said lead like it matters is
It happens to be my book of the month. She didn't know that.
Yeah, I did not know that. I mean, I love that you're constantly doing that, looking for the next leadership. But I also want to ask you this is, maybe you're brand new and you're like, what in the heck is this Zoom going to be all about? And that might have been scary. That might be scary for the brand new person coming in, but you got to start with leading yourself to lead others. And so automatically, you joining the Zoom makes you a leader. Whether you think that or not, you are a leader. And I think that was so important for us to title this Lead Like It Matters in that book by Craig Rochelle, because leadership is powerful. And I want them to catch maybe what I didn't at the beginning, like you did from early on. So I know that you got a ton of notes. I got a couple things from it. But give them your favorite thing. And then I want to ask you some questions on leadership.
Well, guys, here's the thing. How many of you don't feel like a leader? You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to put a 2. Okay, maybe put a 2 in the comments. But I bet you most people don't feel like a leader. Mm-hmm. And so what I want you to know today is that you are a leader. Mm-hmm. Even though you may not feel like it, you lead people, you lead discussions, you have conversations. If you have a spouse, I guarantee you're probably leading them. If you have kids, I guarantee you lead them. If you go to work, I guarantee you there's somebody at work that is following you. You may not know, but there is somebody looking to you. So today, I want you to type in the comment, I am a leader, so that you know it and you recognize it, because we see it in you. And that's what we try to do. We try and draw that out of you. So when Craig was talking about the whole concept of leading like it matters, it's because you have to have intent with what you do, because you are leading, whether you think you are or not. And the people that are following you will follow the example, what you are doing.
One of the things that Craig has said is, if you want to be a great leader, you have to serve. And so it just makes me go back to, you're constantly serving, you're constantly asking me and your team, all of us, what can I do to help you? And I think that that's a great question. As you're sitting here, listening to Joel, what's something that they could do to go serve?
Well, guys, that's the biggest thing is, and when you look at leadership as a whole, the greatest obvious example of leadership was Jesus. And he laid down his life and led by being the last, not the first. All the disciples were arguing and asking Jesus, who's going to be on your right hand? Who's going to be on your left hand? Who's your favorite? And the thing is God said, if you want to be first, you first need to become last. You need to serve people. Now, in our business, what does that look like? Well, guys, in any business, he who serves the most people, he who helps the most people has the most. Not only has the most stuff and things, but is the most fulfilled. So when you're looking at what you're doing as a leader, you need to look towards what can you do to help others? Because, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you start focusing on the needs of the people on your team and finding out the things that you can do to help make them better, obviously, what is it going to do? It's going to raise the level of your leadership and raise the level of your team all across the board.
One of the things that I can think about is maybe they're feeling unworthy, or they're not feeling like they've done a good job, or maybe they took a break. Maybe they enjoyed summer with their kids. So, I know you tell me this all the time, is that's the past and God gives us grace. So what is something I hear? He's always got something up his sleeve. So what is something that
I just posted this today. Read it again. It's in my story, but I'll read it to you. Jamie Kern Lima posted today. We will only achieve and maintain in life what we believe we are worthy of. So that's the next thing that I want you to put in the comments. Put, I am worthy, because of the fact that now that you know that you're a leader, you have to understand that you are worthy of all the things that come with a leader. Now, everybody wants to be a leader. And the reason why people want to be leaders is because they want the leadership perks. They want the parking spot. They want the money. They want the attention. They want the fame. They want all the things that come along with leadership. But how many of you are willing to do the things that a leader does to get to where a leader is? That's the thing that you have to start asking yourself is, what would leader me do in this situation? Well, what would leader me do today instead of not doing something? These are the things that you have to ask yourself. Look at yourself as a leader 5 years down the road. And it's very funny because when people are trying to solve leadership problems, the best thing you could do is ask yourself, what would leader me 5-10 years down the road do this? How would they solve this problem? Because a lot of times when you are asking yourself these questions, you already know the answer, but you need confirmation from yourself that you know the answer.
Yeah. So, that I battled this a lot and said, I didn't sign up for this. I never thought of myself as a leader. I don't think I lead right, all of these things. And we heard someone talk about overthinking. And that was probably my favorite talk. Like, I'm going to jump around because, I like to jump around a little bit. But it's one of those things that they did a survey, right? And it was 10,000 people.
So not just a small, like 4 people and 2 said yes and 3 said no.
And they asked is, do you think you've ever had an overthinking? And I think it was 99.5% of people overthink.
Yeah, there's 0.5% that just nail it all the time.
I don't know
So
who they
if
are.
you're in that 0.5%, you can just go ahead and come on over here and hang out with us, because I need to hang around the 0.5%ers, because that is a crazy statistic.
But I think that just shows you that, if you're brand new, you may be overthinking, oh my gosh, I need to know it all. Or maybe you've been in for a long time and you think, one of my moments or fears of overthinking is I'm too old. Now, I don't really think that, but that's that fear on the back of my head thinking I'm too old. Am I going to be am I a good leader now? Can I still lead? Was that just a window? And maybe you're in your 20s and you think the other fear could be the opposite, is they're overthinking that they're too young and they can't lead. And so it's not a matter of whether they think that or not about like being a leader. So what is something that, you could suggest helping them with that?
Guys, some of the things that you need to think about when it comes to overthinkers, obviously we just found out that everybody does it. So if you're an overthinker, go ahead and raise your hand down there, because of the fact that every single one of you on here is an overthinker if we just looked at the statistics of it. The thing that he said, because this was coming from John Acuff's talk, and I've got my notes here, and he said, starting is fun, but the future belongs to the finishers. And the thing is the finishers are the ones that stop overthinking and just start doing. Because what happens is you get into analysis paralysis, which is what my main disease is that I am a constant overthinker because I'm a green personality. So I'm constantly trying to analyze and go through everything, where Steph is a red personality, where she just goes and then she figures it out along the way. So congratulations, you started, you're here. Now it's time to get your finishing shoes on and get to running and get to going, because the success belongs to the people that can finish well, not the people that start well.
Yeah. Well, his talk was so good. Like, you guys, hands down, for me, he was my favorite. Well, him and the girl on Skinny Coffee in the UK. There was actually, I shouldn't say that. There was a few, but this one just resonated so much with me because he took us through like, be like a child, like think like a child does, which they really don't think. They think they can do anything and everything, and they just do it. They're not overthinking at that age, and so it made me go back and go, what can I do now? And just start doing. And one of the things that I get asked constantly is, how are you always still consistently enrolling customers and distributors in this business? And first, it took me a while. I had to get my, feet on the ground and get confident in knowing some of the products. And I used them. And that was one of the things. And then researching and understanding it and going in the back office. And then there's always a constantly learning and trying new things and not caring. And I think, staying in your lane of, where do you feel most confident in working? And I think that that's something that helps me, is just staying in the lane, but also open to learning and growing in new areas. And so I think that's, do you have anything to share on that?
The thing about Steph is she knows what she's good at, and she focuses 80% of her time on that. The other 20% of her time is focused on trying new things, because she never knows if you get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again, even though it's your main thing, what happens if your main thing all of a sudden no longer works? You don't have a backup plan. So crush what you're good at and what you know, but always spend time learning something new, in case what happens is what you're good at now becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
One of the things that John Acuff said that is kind of the reason why we all overthink is, he said, one of the greatest mistakes is we're all assuming that all of our thoughts are true. So guys, that fear thought that you have is the most paralyzing part of what you're doing, because you're overthinking that part so much because you believe it to be true. But the fact of the matter is that it's not. The things that could possibly happen won't happen. The good things that are going to happen could happen, But it doesn't matter if you're just sitting there stewing over it. You have to take a decisive action in order to see which one of those is true.
You know, I had this talk with Liz today, if she's on here, and it was about reels. And that's just me being kind of sharing with you guys, like, that is just so weird for me. Like, that is not my strong part, but I'm willing to try. And so I started, and I told Joel, I said, I just don't understand how a reel of a picture of the lake could blow up. And it just shows you that you just have to be willing to start. And you just don't know when those things are going to continue to grow, and you're going to learn from those. And so the only way for me to have learned is to start doing those. And the more that I do those, the more confident I'm getting and learning all the different things. But if you want to be a better leader, lead yourself and lead others, it's just, you're showing up every week, you're getting better. Like, you are better today than you were yesterday. You always say that, like, you know, you're constantly learning something. And so I think that's something, you know, if somebody were to look at, how could I apply what I learned from that? Like what you just said, is we can change it, right? So you, like, listening to this, I'm like, okay, I know that there's a lot of things that I could work on, that I could bring back. So how would I do that?
Well, the thing is you have two ways of doing this. You need to say the things that you want out loud. That's one.
And that feels weird.
Do that in the mirror. Say it out loud to yourself. So not only are you speaking it with your mouth, you're hearing it with your ear, and you're seeing yourself with your eyes. Then the next thing you need to do is write those things down. When you transfer a thought and a word from your brain to your hand to paper, something happens. It's magic. There's no way to explain it. It's just magic. If you don't believe me, try it and watch what happens.
I kind of jumped around a little bit, and I know you're still on your notes with John Elkoff, but I want you guys to write these top 10 leadership kind of characteristics, because that was something that also that Craig said, that you can do these and you can decide what you are. So his top 10, and he narrowed it down to 3 too. So I think we might just do a zoom on just this, but write down confident and humble, driven and healthy, focused and flexible, optimistic and realistic, direct and kind, empowering and controlling, urgent and patient. This one, that doesn't make sense to me, but frugal and abundant. I mean, it does make sense, but so those were kind of Craig's top 10 kind of characteristics. If you were to look at a leader, what would they have? And a lot of these were the similarities of those. And then he narrowed it down to the top 3. And, you know, as you're hearing some of these, if you're writing those down and you're looking at those, there might be one that really stands out to you. I think for me, a couple of them were, I mean, I really am that. I'm not a dreamer like you. I'm optimistically real. So I set my goals and I'm like, this is going to happen, but I want to be realistic about it. Like, okay, I want Ambassador Diamond. It's not going to take me a month, right? Something like that. So I'm focused and flexible with those things. And I'm confident and humble enough to know that, okay, I'm confident in knowing, but humble enough to bring it down. And then working in a sense of urgency, but being patient as well. I think I really am a lot of those things. So how do we change that if we're not? Can we get better?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is you're doing it. You're here learning. But the one thing that he said is you can learn anything. We're past the information age. We're information overload now. So take any one of those things. If you want to learn more about it, use your Googler, use your YouTuber, go in there, use the TikToker, all the use them, because you can find them all. You can find videos on everything. You can find trainings on all of the things. The things that you want to learn are at your fingertips.
Mhm.
There is no reason for you not to get better every single month because you have the ability to. You're not a tree. You can move and grow at any single time. So that's what's so incredible is you have the ability to take any of the things that you don't like and change them. The thing that he said, and I'll go back to John Acuff for a second. He said, thoughts come by choice or by chance. Same thing about what Steph was talking about. Any one of those could be a choice or they happen by chance, but it's ultimately up to you to make that decision, which one of those happens.
You know, as you guys are like listening to this and you're like, man, you know, we're listening to the number one earners of the company. They're so lucky. I think sometimes we get called that a lot, not knowing
I'm
our
lucky I married her.
not our backstory of all the work, all of the things that we did. And really, you were setting yourself up way prior, reading the leadership development. You know, we've tried a lot of things, we failed at a lot of things, and it's made us who we are because I think that gave us a hard backbone. So, is leadership easy? No. Is being successful easy? No. Is getting your first customer going to be easy? Some may be like yes, and some may be like, man, I'm hitting all the no's first. But in order to get to where you want to be, you can't quit. And I think that's one of the things that I saw in the room as I'm watching is even early on when I was angry at you and thinking, oh my gosh, how many things are we going to fail at? What are we going to do? You kept pressing on. You just knew you could do it and you were learning from it. And so as I looked around the room, everybody was there was by choice because they chose to be there during the middle of the week, filling themselves up, or whether they were watching it online, but they haven't quit. They know that they're destined for something more. And I believe that's each of you that are on this Zoom is, you know, lead like it matters. What are you leading them to? What do you want? You know that you have an opportunity to help them get healthy, and you may be leading that person to get healthy for themselves. That transfers to their child, seeing their mom get healthy. And it's this domino effect that you didn't even realize that you had an impact on for the rest of your life that you may never know. And that's a great feeling to know that. Or maybe you are that person that gives them the opportunity and you led them to change their whole family's tree with finances, right? So that was something for us is somebody changed our life because they shared an opportunity with us. So you have the ability to change not only your life, but the lives of others. And what a cool thing that we have to be able to get out there and lead. Did you have anything else on John Acuff that you wanted to share that stood out to you? I mean, other than the book.
The thing is be actionable with the things that you choose. He said, things that you got to think about is like, where do I want to win this week? Say that to yourself. Where do I want to win this week? What are you doing? You're automatically setting your mind up that you're going to win this week. And then you're also telling yourself where that's going to take place. And then what you do is you backfill that with the activity that takes place to accomplish it.
That's so good. If I could take anything from what you just shared, that would be it, because we're
done. Training over.
we are done. But I think that's just it is we have to know that we're going to have a win for the day. And I know that just even if you've never made your bed, start making your bed, because that's a win for the day. You know, that's what I've always done is I love to make sure that I get my bed made. I do some little tasks because you don't even realize that you're setting yourself up for so much more than just making your bed. And there's a whole story on that with another talk, but
like drinking my skinny hydrate.
But we'll go on with that. So how can they, hear this? How would they go about it if they want to be a better leader and get more information? Because really mindset is a lot of this with business, and not just with It Works with network marketing. It's in life. Like your mindset will make you or break you. I really believe that. So how can, I think people ask us all the time, holy cow, you're at another leadership thing, or how did you get invited? And, you start to know things and you just decided to make that a priority. So where would you tell them to start?
Guys, first place to start is go to the Global Leadership Network website, go to GLS. The other one, and this one just happened this week, it happened at the same time, and you can go look it up. It was Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi hosted Time to Thrive Challenge. So go to Time to Thrive Challenge on Google, and it'll bring it up, and you'll be able to watch the replay. Same thing with Global Leadership Summit. They should have the replay up for a little bit before they start adding all the bonus features to it, and then you have to end up paying for it. So those would be two places that I would definitely jump on, just because of the fact that that's the way to do it. Also, on Tuesday mornings at 8:30 Eastern time, do a leadership and personal development Zoom, which turns into my podcast. So make sure you're going to the It Works personal development group and ask to be added to it, because that's where we normally do that. And that's me hand curating a bunch of different topics to learn on, and we go through it together, and then I tell you how to apply it to your business.
Well, and for me, that first pull, and you remember our very first conference for It Works is, if you want to learn and become better, then you got to get to conference. You got to get around the people that are having the wins, that are doing the successful things, because it never fails. Every year I hear somebody that wasn't even in the top 200 and they're in the top 200 now, and that can be you. That could make that. Does not matter how much time you've been in. It just matters on, again, it's a choice. It's going to be work, but are you going to move forward for that? And Jill, that's awesome. She said that was me. So I can't wait to go back to again in a few months and be like, who's in the top 200 that wasn't?
And my statement that I always love to make about conferences: anybody who's anybody is only anybody because they went to conference. And they continue to be someone because they continue to show up to conference. So let that sink in, because that's something that if you don't get to it and you don't get around it, you won't have what the people have that are going to it and getting it.
Yeah. So, start saving now, for conference, because I love Zooms. I love that we can do this and share all around the world, but there's something about being in the room. And so that is one of the things that we haven't missed a conference in 13 years. And then we go to these summits and different things because it is different in the room. You get to meet people that you might not have ever met. God puts certain people in your path. I met incredible people this past weekend where it fills me up and it stretched me to go, holy cow, there's so many more people in this world that we don't even touch even by social media. So it's important to make those connections, to constantly want more and do more. And so conference for me is a non-negotiable. I want to be there. It shows us too, like, who's committed to go, because I remember our very first conference, we didn't have the money to go. And I was struggling. I was like, what are we going to do? Basically we borrowed some money to get going and go. And we just sucked it up. I just remember that. And I would never take that for granted. And then the following year, I was like, I need people there. Like, I want 10 people. And we packed people in a room. And so that's just what we're going to do. So make sure that you guys do get around people, and you can do that. Before we move on, because I know we're going to cut it kind of tight, but there's always something. I think everybody wants the tricks and the tips and how can you be successful in this business. And really there's a couple ways, and it's having your mindset right, using the product, and we get paid by gathering customers and distributors. And that sounds pretty simple. That's really what we do. And so we can utilize all platforms to get your voice out there, to be heard and be seen and have results and share other people's results.
Guys, the one great thing is we tell you the what. The what is the get distributors and customers. We leave the how up to you. You have the what, how, you just go figure it out. But the most important part is the why. And you've got to get that part deep down, because that's what's going to keep you going. I said on I guess we did a couple FaceTimes with some groups this weekend, and I said, the way to get to the top is through determination. And what does determination mean? It means you'll figure it out.
Mhm.
You'll figure it out. How do I get a customer? I don't know, but I'll figure it out. How do you get a distributor? I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Did host post work yesterday? Yeah. Did it not work today? No, I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Did you put a post up that didn't work? Yeah. Will you put another one up tomorrow? Yeah, you'll figure it out. It is the thing that drives you to get the what done.
Mhm. That's so good. Um, so I know there's something that you can hear from one of these Zooms that you get on that might be your light bulb moment. And that's what we're always hoping, is that we share one thing that is that moment for you to be like, "Look, like this is it." And I'm always listening to the events and what we can do. And this stood out to me. And I did share this on some of the girls on their summer nights um that they earned because they were just crushing it. So congratulations of any of you. I know Jill was on here, Marissa, a few of you. I didn't see everybody's face, but I know some of you guys were at the summer's nights this past weekend. And before we were leaving the summit, I was like, I just want to FaceTime in or let them know how proud we are of them. So if you're on this Zoom, first off, I want to say I'm so proud of you for being on this Zoom, because you're taking away time from family, from other things, to pour into yourself to become better so that you can give your family and yourself some freedoms that other people might be just sitting watching TV that are choosing that instead. So I want you to know we see you, we love you, and you are important, you matter, and you are a leader. But this one really stuck out to me. Everything that we do, I could hear this at a different time in my life and it might not have impacted me. But for this moment of what I'm in right now, this one stuck out to me. And it was, if we aren't ruthlessly focused, we'll never get it. And if we aren't flexible, we won't keep it. And I was like, whoa, that hit me so hard, because I know that there's seasons where I'm ruthlessly focused, right? And you guys can look at that too. Some of you that may have been in and you're like, I'm going ruby, I'm going diamond. You know exactly what you're going to do and you're going to make everything happen. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can take a break. And you're not as focused as maybe you once were, or life happened, so you got to be a little bit flexible to get back into that zone of being focused on what you want. And so it was just a reminder to me of, life has been crazy for me, but it doesn't mean that I'm not flexible enough to notice it, to get back focused. And so that was one that hit me. I don't know if it hit you like it hit me, but I've been talking about that all,
Yeah,
all weekend. So if there was something that stood out to you, Joel, I know everything did, but what was something that impacted you?
just the fact that the majority of people, all of you that are on here, you're on here, but you don't realize the level of leadership that you carry. And that's the thing that I want to just, basically come through and shake on you, is the fact that the things that you do matter, the people that you're around matter, the lives that you're changing wouldn't change without you.
Mhm.
So show up as your best self, because somebody is needing and expecting you to show up as the leader that we know you are.
Wow, that was so good. I don't say it enough because I get Joel all to myself usually, but he is an incredible man of great integrity and loyal and character. You have everything, and you're so wise. And I'm so glad you prayed for that, because now, what, years ago when I asked it, I was like, I want to be wise too. I want to know all of the things and help other people. So, as you're praying, what do you want to pray about tonight and every day that you can do to get better? And that was something that just stuck out to me years ago. And I said, what do you pray for? I've never asked you that. So I love that he's constantly believing in you, seeing greatness in you when others may not, they may be tearing you down, because it's a hard world out there sometimes that we live in. And leadership isn't always easy. And this business isn't always easy. Life isn't always easy. Life has been hard these last couple of years. And so just being around and getting that together. I think before we end too, I just wanted to share this. I got, for whatever reason, I'm always like, God, just let me share something that might impact them, or maybe it's going to impact me. And I took the moment tonight to go through, before I got on Zoom, and Joel doesn't even know that I did this and that I was even going to say this, but I went through my old voicemails, and there was a ton of, I'll get emotional because my mom passed away, for those of you that know that, just over a year ago. And I was listening to her voice, and it made me go, our voice is so impactful, and you have a voice that needs to be heard. And I think that was this weekend, is your voice matters to so many people. And so as I was listening to it, it made me go, man, I want to do more reels. I want to do more videos. I want to do those things, because hearing a voice is different than reading. And what that means doesn't mean that my posts aren't good, or it doesn't, they're impactful. It's impactful in a different way when somebody can hear your true voice and your true self. And it just made me go, man, I want people to hear me, because I care so deeply about people and I believe in them so very much. Even though I'm so goal driven and focused, I know that I just want it so bad for them. So that was a reminder to me tonight to share with you that your voice is so powerful. And we can use it for good, or we can use it for not so good. And I'm going to choose to use it for a lot of good moving forward. So I hope that was helpful for you to go, what do leaders do and how can we get better? And that's just something I just happened to do before I got on. So what do you think about that?
You're awesome.
He does say I'm awesome quite a bit. So you're awesome. You're awesome. And you got to do the double like waves to us, because when you do this, that gets people's attention. So when you're going on Zooms, when you're going on, isn't that cool when you're like waving double
wave hand.
Yeah, we learned a few different techniques for over the years, but any last minute? Are you good?
No, that's it.
That's it. We got a lot more stuff, but you guys just know that you're so loved. You're so appreciated. We didn't give you any tips and tricks necessarily tonight, other than you know what to do. We just need to get out and do that.
Values and principles, which will outlast tips and tricks.
Yes.
Way more important.
Yes. So we'll have you close out in prayer, and then we'll see you again next week, Monday at 8:00.
God, thank you for this amazing group of leaders. Just ask that you would speak into them so that they can see and understand the leadership that you've put into them. God, give them knowledge, wisdom, and discernment in everything that they say and do, so that they can go out and do incredible things this week and help change people's lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next weekend.
See you guys.